Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Price List Update Summary video series brought to you by Actionable Insights. You've got Harrison here, you've got Whatley there, and you've got Stone there. And we're here to talk about the new line items that were added to the Xactimate price list in, November 2023. There are 7 new line items this month, plus a bunch of existing line items that have been changed. So if this is your first time watching this video series, welcome. We like to look at what new line items are added, what existing line items changed in Xactimate, and what are we supposed to do with these line items? How are they supposed to be applied, or what context should we be using them in a claims environment? So let's jump right into it. Oh, wait, no. We've got a fairly big announcement. Wally, I would say I'm fairly excited. We've been talking about this idea for a while, and so we want to thank you for following Actionable Insights and this video series when we put out the monthly priceless updates every month. As a sign of our gratitude, we want to give stuff away. That sounds pretty fun to me. So if you are watching this on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram, all you have to do is comment. Just comment wherever you are on one of those 4 platforms, comment below. What we would like to do is every month we are going to give away an Actionable Insights belt. We've got our belts. Now, guys, please keep your crotches below the camera level. There will be a little graphic that pops up right below us that shows off a picture of this belt. Thank you.
Yeah. It's infinitely adjustable.
Off, thank you.
It's infinitely adjustable. There's no we don't have the holes in the belt. So when you go and you have 3 tacos for lunch and your belt needs to go from medium to extra medium, boom.
Yes.
You just make a little adjustment there. You're good to go. Got it covered.
Yeah, our belts are pretty good, but more importantly, they will help keep your estimates tight, just like your pants. So, all you have to do is comment below. If you are on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, or Instagram, comment below. We'll be giving 1 belt away to each platform. That means 4 belts every month. And all you got to do is comment for a chance to win that monthly belt on that platform. Hey, if you really want to have a chance to win, you could comment on all 4 platforms and be entered to win on all 4 platforms. So,
yeah, and we don't even care if you're commenting on who has the best beard out of the 3 of us. Feel free to reflect on that.
It's definitely not you. All right. Thank you for following. Please like, share, subscribe wherever you are. Let's jump into the new line items in Xactimate November 2023. Number 1. Oh, wait. I need to provide a better entrance there for our editing team. Here we go. Let's do it. Let's check out the new line items. New line items. All right. Line item number 1. Now, let's be perfect. We'll just leave that in just like that. And this too. Hey, what's up? It's all live, people. Yeah, we just do these things.
We got
live.
One shot, man. We got the next meeting to get to.
Number 1 line item this month, RFGWB. This is a water barrier membrane line item for a modified bitumen for the entire surface of high temperatures. This is a big one because in our preparation for this recording, we looked at a bunch of the existing bitumen line items and high temperature line items. So we have clarified exactly what this new line item is for. RFGWB. If you are applying a water barrier membrane, modified bitumen, to the entire surface of a roof, you should be using this new line item. Now, I'm actually going to jump to line item changes here because we have had an ice and water barrier high temperature line item. And this line item is not designed for the entire surface or use. No. This is for... here, I'll actually open up the picture to make it easier.
It's just your 3-foot
existing
run.
Line item.
Yeah, it's just a 3-foot run against your EVE value. So that's what you would typically see. So for that elevation, you're going to do a 3-foot run. So you do your, what would be your EVE variable times 3, right, Stone?
Right.
Yeah, and that would get you there in most cases. So sometimes there, by the way, is nuance about whether it should come back 4 feet, because a lot of the code that I've read, Stone, is 2 feet back from your your warmed wall surfaces. So depending on the length, if your EVE is only 12 inches, then that 3-foot run works. Problem, Harrison, if you need to do full 4 foot to be code compliant, you might need 2 rolls. And so this is where the industry continues to. It's congratulations, you're both right. These are the nuances of building material and Xactimate line items and code all converging. But it's good to have that perspective from both sides. So just wanted to inject that notion.
Love that. To clarify, the existing line item, RFG IWSHT for ice and water barrier high temp, we've had this line item. This line item was updated to clarify its intention. Common applications for ice and water barrier include along eaves, rakes, around chimneys, pipe jacks, roof vents, skylights, roof windows, and valley lighting, etc. This new line item is specific for the entire surface. So one thing, Whatley, you noted right away was the cost structure difference of these two line items. We're looking here in the San Diego price list. The existing line item for that eave section and alike was around 292 cents, or sorry, $2.92 per square foot.
Right.
But the new line item is $1.62 per square foot. So when we talk economies of scale and doing the entire surface of a roof versus a run, you can be a bit more efficient, have a higher yield when working in an entire surface environment. And so the cost structure reflects that economies of scale of applying this to the entire surface.
So Stone, if you were to apply it to the entire surface and then put your adjuster hat on, and then a contractor submits it and with 30-pound felt that augments this line item, is that an overage to you?
Right. Yeah, because you don't have the overlap. You'd be subtracting one from the other.
Right. So maybe we should introduce some rules into the actionable profile where if you include any of the line items that include felt, or you separately include 15 or 30-pound felt augmented by this line item, then we throw a alert for that being a potential overage.
Correct.
Nice.
That's a great segue and reminder. If you are not using the actionable profile, what's up? We've got a profile in Xactimate that has live estimating guidance. You can see an example of it over here on the right side of alerts that pop up while you're estimating to provide you guidance on potential mistakes you will be making and potential line items that you forgot to include, but maybe should include before you submit that. So if you're looking to write more accurate estimates, check out the actionable profile. Plus, as you can tell, we are actively updating it every week and every month. So if you want reminders to use this new bitumen entire surface line item when it's appropriate, sign up for the actionable profile and we'll make sure you're including it every time it's warranted to include. Okay, gentlemen, there are 6 other new line items to talk about this month, and we're going to keep it real brief. EQU backhoe loader per day, per month, per week, and skid steer loader per day, per month, per week. Whatley, what are your thoughts on these 6 new line items here?
I think I know why these were adopted. It had to do with an announcement that I saw yesterday, and that Jared Dirt, the product manager, has put exact time and material out in the wild. So that exists. I think one of the first places you will actually have access to it is through the actionable profile, ironically enough. So I think those talks are in motion between your team and his team. But these line items were probably adopted because formally the backhoe loader and skid steer line items included labor, which I always thought was weird, by the way. And
had the operator as a component.
Yeah, I always wanted it separate, right? And you even saw other trainers, Harrison, like train towards pulling those out of the components and so on. And doing that like mathematically perfect was really complicated and mathematically fallacious at best. So this individual line item where I can just bill for the equipment works a lot better for the T&M product, where you're going to be pulling from T-sheets, or you're just going to be pulling from your labor straight away and then augmenting it with the equipment or material. This is just straight away a much cleaner way to do it, and I think might have been the catalyst for the adoption of these new line items.
Makes sense. All right, that's the 7 new line items this month. Let's check out the changes. Checking out the changes. All right, we're going to jump over to the line item changes section here. I'm going to pull November. So we have November in the November price list on the right. We have October, last month, on the left. So we can take a look at before on the left side and after on the right. Let's take a look at the changes to the existing line items and start with yield and supporting event adjustments. Whenever you adjust a yield or the supporting events, that does impact the price of a line item. And so let's take a look at what changes to line items happen that may have impacted the price. First and foremost, we have 5 line items here, and these are actually like kind of ranges of line items. It's not just these 5, but it's the exterior door line items and the add for retrofit exterior window line items. So we're talking exterior doors and exterior windows. These line items have had a new component added to them. If I take a look at this door X retro on the left and we look at the door X retro on the right, you'll see that there's an additional component here. On the right side in November, there is a material liquid foam sealant for doors and windows, etc. Stone, talk to me about the building methodology, the thought process behind adding liquid foam sealant as a component to a retrofit of exterior door.
Absolutely. If you're doing a window retrofit, especially in an older house, you're tearing out that old window frame, you've got cracks and gaps that you've got to seal as well as insulate before you install that new window.
Yeah, and fortunately for anybody using the actionable profile, we've had alerts pop up reminding you to include foam insulation. However, foam insulation is now included in the line item. So, Stone, you and I have some work to do to go update our old rules just to now point out that the installations aren't included in the line item. But hey, we want people to be accurate when you're using the Xactimate price list. And that's the power of Xactware and the actionable profile, helping make that happen. So, good to know if you've been charging for foam insulation separate when you're charging for exterior door and window work. It is most likely now included in the line item, so be sure to double check. This was the RFGWB line item. So we just saw the new line item, WBHT, for a high temperature version of that line item. Now the existing line item here, they just looked at it and they made some changes here. Let's take a quick look. Specifically, they've updated primarily the material component that was already within the line item, moving from the modified bitumen underlay to more of an ice or water barrier with modified bitumen base. So they've updated the component. Basically, they looked at the ice and water barrier line items this month, added a new one, and made some adjustments to the components within the existing ones. All right, lightning protection system. I have not used this line item in my career yet. Maybe someday I will, but somebody out there has used it and multiple times. So just as a clarification, they've reworked this line item to adjust some of the components. Really, the making sure you have enough air terminals, making sure you have enough clamps and protection cables within that line item to perform that job. So that cost structure did go up a little bit as they've added some components or adjusted the components in that line item. Okay. Let's now jump to additional item information changes. These are not yield changes or price changes, but changes to a line item that are good to be aware of. The ELE REWIRMC line item, this is a brand new one. I think we saw this last month, maybe October, maybe September, of this new line item for metal-clad copper rewiring. And so they've updated some of the components in the notes here to make sure that people understand exactly the quality, that it's all metal-clad copper wiring and things like that. Anytime, guys, I mean, Whatley, anytime a new line item comes out, there's bound to be confusion of how it's supposed to be used. So is this pretty normal for us to see some immediate updates?
Yeah, for the next 90 days, there's often a few tweaks to especially the additional item information. It's not that common. Pricing department has to go and actually updates their yields or components. Usually that's fundamentally sound out of the block, but the additional item information, look for that to drift and be refined over 90 days after a line item is initially adopted.
Makes sense. Okay, these are fun ones for me. PLM slab LF and slab OC. These are opening, closing the slab either by linear foot or just in each charge. Now, this I'm sure ended up in a fun claims friction environment because the change that came this month, let's actually do this even further. Previously, the line item just said that it was for a 2-foot wide trench, but it did not address the actual depth of expectations of how deep are we going to be tunneling. And so they've added a clarification that says this is to include related excavation up to 2 feet deep. This did not say it previously. So if you are going to be tunneling or excavating deeper than 2 feet deep, then you may need to make adjustments to the yield of this line item or supplement in other ways to explain, hey, this line item includes an assumption of we're working up to 2 feet of depth. So
why did the price drop by 10%?
Let's take a look. That's always a fun question to deal with live. Let's see here. Great. I will reopen this to keep our sizing same and similar for our editing team to zoom in on here. Okay, same. Slab LF 480, slab LF 480.
Oh, because I misread it. That's why.
Yes.
I was looking at the RCV versus the unit price. I'm glad I could distract us.
Got it. No worries.
Solid contribution, Whatley. You know, they're not all winners, Stone. You know,
it's all good. Hey, this EQU telehandler forklift line item already existed, but they've added to the exclude sections that it excludes the equipment operator specifically. It used just to say operator. So
cool.
Just keeping these line items consistent in their verbiage and language. All right. Miscellaneous changes. These are not changes to the line item, additional item information or yields or prices, but are still important. Hey, the default calculation has been updated on your cement board line items. Yeah. So if you're using FCT floor covering tile or TIL tile or WTR BC, all of these cement board line items have updated default calculations to better fit the intended application of that line item. Yep. So previously, it's like an example like TIL BSEM to replace cement board or remove cement board used to say WC. Now it just defaults to W.
We're not putting tile on the ceiling very often, right?
Yeah.
If we're seeing TIL, that's going to be on the wall. If we're seeing FC floor covering, that's going to be on the floor. And so that's how you see the calculations following along.
So small updates, but these are intended to at least identify the surface that this line item would typically be applied to first. So that people can make changes more expediently or be more accurate when they're first applying a line item. All right, where's my language lovers out there? Depending on where you're from, you might say garbage disposer or you might say garbage disposal. And of course, searching for that line item has never been easy depending on your verbiage. So Xactimate has updated the line item description fully to now include the word disposal. So you might say garbage disposer, you might say garbage disposal, but no matter what, as long as you're spelling it right, you'll find it in Xactimate.
Yeah. I'd love some comments, by the way, if the synonym initiative is working. So there are a lot of, there's been a lot.
On that, Whatley. I don't know if people know what you're referencing.
So when you search in Xactimate, if you search for, say, orange peel, you couldn't find the machine texture because colloquially we all call it orange peel, right? But in Xactimate, it's called machine texture. It's not wrong. It's just in construction, there's often 2 and 3 names for a lot of the same thing. And so the pricing department's invested a lot of time in finding synonyms, things like wainscoting. How often would you and I see in Xactimate Ninjas? Where's the line item for wainscoting, right? Well, now it guides you towards basic paneling, which is equivalent to wainscoting. But wainscoting is like a brand like Kleenex and so on. And so they've done some great, you search for Matterport now, right? Boom, you get your line items.
And the fee scan 3D line item shows
you got
up.
it. So give me some feedback, guys. Is that working for you? Have you noticed search has been improved over the last 90 days or not? In my view, for the stuff I'm looking for, it's been hugely improved, but it may be anecdotal and because I'm acutely aware of that initiative. But I'd love to get you some feedback, good or bad, about how search is doing.
All right. Lastly, we already looked at this change, but just to clarify, the high temperature ice and water barrier line item has some new language, just clarifying the common applications for this type of line item, not intended for the entire surface.
Cool.
So just clarifying that. All right. Those are the changes to the existing line items in Xactimate. Let's take our attention and look forward to the future. Forward to the future. Every month, Varus gives us an idea of what might be coming in the future. New line items, changes to existing line items. So let's take a look at what they listed this month for potential future changes. So we saw the top bullet last point. They are still reviewing if items are needed for a 14-inch R49 battery bat insulation. And additionally, they are looking at items for cured-in-place pipe lining. Is that something that you guys would be excited or interested in?
Yeah, the cured-in-place lining, that's interesting to price for, and I think becoming quite common. When you did the largest North American repipe in the history of North America,
North American occupied residency repipe.
That's a lot of asterisks.
I got you.
But anyhow, we thought a lot about doing that cured in place pipe retrofit as opposed to pulling out all the piping, and so that's becoming more common. So anyhow, I like those additions. Looks good.
Love it. Okay, more to come in the future. We'll see. Thank you again for watching this video, following Actionable Insights. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe on whatever platform you're on. Don't forget to comment if you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram, and you'll be automatically entered for a chance to win 1 belt for each platform. That's 4 belts every month, and it could be yours. All right. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed this month, and good luck settling all those claims out there.
Keep building.
Keep learning and growing, guys.